Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, Internal Combustion Engine Age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks, the motorcycles, the SUV, the pool, the camper, the dogs. Hey, wow, incredible. I mean, it's incredible. I'm blessed. I'm not lying to you about that. If you think I don't ever think that I've been blessed in this world, I surely have. And it's just incredible how beautiful it is here. I mean, it's not as warm as yesterday, but it still has that humidity factor in the air so that it's not the real cold, cool breeze this morning. Beautiful fall day here where we're getting so close to Thanksgiving, so close to the holidays of Christmas. It's beyond believable how this year has passed right in front of our eyes. And if you're really a follower of my channel, you've seen me now this whole year, from being here to being in Florida to being in Tennessee to just about dying on Easter weekend. It's just pretty incredible. All the adventures that just on my own channel in 1 year. And even I said back in January this past year that it wouldn't be another 34 vehicle purchase this year. But yet, if we step back and look at the driveway, it's incredible how many vehicles have I purchased so far this year. I'd be willing to bet it's at 20 plus between tractors, motorcycles, ATVs, and all the trucks and cars. I'm sure I'm at 20 plus vehicles. And for the record, I've kind of downsized a little bit, 5 less vehicles at this time than I had here just a few months ago. So it's always the conversations in the morning where I try to bring to you content that may intrigue you to watch my channel. It's a very small following, but I enjoy those that follow me, and we have our chit-chat back and forth through our comments in the morning and throughout the day. And so here's the Chevy Bison. Gail said, that looks really good. Gail's Food and Stuff, who follows me, has her YouTube channel. She said, your Bison looks so right with that trailer. Yeah, if I ever even use that trailer to go anywhere, right? That's my home. And for the record, just so you know, it is interesting how some people think that my wife kicked me out of my house and forced me in that trailer. There's nothing at all. Whenever you're hearing that story, that is totally false. My wife and I are in a good relationship, and we all have our unique personalities, unique relationships. We've been married for close to 30 years, and I've been in this house since 1991. And for me, it was more about just getting a change of pace, just to get out of that house, because I guarantee you there's many people on my channel who can say I've already lived in 4 or 5 or 10 homes or more than what you've lived in that one residence. But yet I'm this crazy guy that has to go out and buy a different car and vehicle every month to appease my addictions, but yet I can live in the same place my whole life. My wife made comments years ago that she'd be hauled out in a wooden box of this place. She ain't leaving. So here's the point. I'm living in the camper because I love the camper. And my wife's not upset with me. I'm not upset with her. You may think she is, but she's not. My wife just doesn't want any of this damn... I get it. There's so many people who want nothing to do with social media, and I get it. Social media is very challenging because you expose yourself for others to critique who you are and then try to kind of tell you what you can and can't do. That's the facts. That's why a lot of people can't do social media, because others start reaching out telling you how to live your life. And if you don't know how to handle that situation, it gets very confrontational, and it irritates the hell out of you. So for me, how do I know? Because I've got a YouTube channel where I get comments all over the place. One person thinks this is great, next person thinks it's the most stupidest idea in the world. That's just who we are. So what are we talking about today? Is I thought to myself yesterday, babies. I thought, you know what? We have not had the baby conversation. I love my brand new big TV. The kid and I sit out here and watch sports. We're now watching the Yellowstone series. Julie actually wants to start the Yellowstone series from this first episode. So I just bought all the episodes. Yellowstone's coming back. Kevin Costner and the producers got into a very big argument of where the direction of that series was going. And I think they stalled it for a year. I was never a Yellowstone follower until I was down in Florida, and I got sick and tired of watching my dad and brother watch Fox News all late afternoon and evening, drove us nuts. So my brother introduced us to the Yellowstone, and we love that series. I'm sure many other people do. And just a little bit I know that series because I just started watching it this past winter, I think it was, and maybe last year. I can't keep track. But the point is, it's a great series, but I just read that it got delayed because Kevin Costner was arguing with the producers, I believe. I think it's about the money or about the direction of the show is going. So yesterday was a great day where I just spent the day taking care of the pups while Julie and Brian did their thing yesterday. And so I babysat the pups. And while I was sitting there doing that, I thought to myself, yeah, babysitting. Wow. I thought to myself, wow, baby. And for my life, I've only had one child, but I've had a lot of dogs. And the commitment you have to give to an animal is huge. I mean, it's huge. And if you're not up for that, you don't have time for that, you should not get an animal. So for me, I've always have had lots of animals because I have the property and I've had the time to spend with them to justify to have them. If I was a person that had to get out of bed every morning and drive somewhere at 6 a.m. in the morning, I get home till 6 o'clock at night, there's no way I'd have a bunch of dogs. I mean, I'd maybe have one or two, maybe. And even at that, it'd be borderline, I don't even know. It depends. If I had to travel all the time, there's no way. And I'm sure there's many channel that are in the same predicament, that you have such a heavy work schedule, heavy other lifestyle, it's very challenging to own a pet. And you're just doing a disservice to that pet. So yesterday, as I was sitting there babysitting the pups, and I watched them all around the property, those guys, they're so different from Kiefer. They're not the same dogs. And for Metallica, my sincere apologies for kind of making a rude comment back to you, but it's just a stressful time for me. And for Metallica, he's the big dog guy, and there's other big dog people out there, and he just kind of made a comment of where these dogs, as they get older, they're going if we don't train them right. Well, Julia took over Kiefer's training from Amanda from Shepherd Works, that all she does is train attack dogs. So right out of the gate, Kiefer was a dog as a baby, we'll use that word as a baby, that he was trained to be an attack dog. So when we got him, he was already all over just eating anything and everything. These dogs here, these dogs are same. We realize it or not, we got Kiefer, we got him little or 7 weeks old. Amanda was so disciplined. We were coming back from Tennessee to Virginia. She did not let that dog go until he's officially 8 weeks. And I was like, so we're going to pick him up like on a Sunday or Monday. And then by Wednesday, he's 8 weeks. I'm like, are you kidding me? So we're going to drive all the way back home. We're going to go all the way back home, only to turn around and drive all the way back down here just 2 or 3 days later to get that dog. So we kind of finally convinced her to let us have Kiefer when he was just turning 8 weeks old. We just found out these dogs, believe it or not, when I was first getting these dogs, when we were getting ready to head out that morning, the guy said these dogs are like 6 weeks old. And I'm like, wow. I was thinking, you know what? I may just give him the money and have him keep him 2 more weeks or whatever. So I was like, so here's the irony. The cousin that raised them, and then like the brother or whoever, it's kind of an interesting family that raises, but they're just doing a litter a year. They're not a breeding family. Their dog got pregnant and they share the litter. And so the whole point is, come to find out, those dogs are 9 weeks old. So actually that really worked out. And the reason I'm talking about this is these 2 German Shepherd puppies, they are night and day. I mean, in some ways, like the Kiefer dog, he'll never be replaced. The only way I'd probably get a replacement of Kiefer would have to go back to Amanda to go to the attack dog. And because the Kiefer was so aggressive, and that's what I made the comment to Metallica, and I felt bad about it after I said it, and I did apologize to him through the comment section. But he was kind of basically the gist was, we're going to put these other dogs in the same path of attacking my other dogs as they get older. But the thing is, when Kiefer was younger, right out of the gate, he was a very aggressive dog. And as he got a little older, he was extremely aggressive towards Ginger. And I really thought, that's what I did. I said to Metallica, I said, who died first? I mean, sincerely, for me as an individual, I would tell you that I always had a concern deep down that Kiefer would severely injure Ginger and she would die first. And then that would be heartbreaking. And then how do you handle that situation? Where we'd probably have to rehome them. because then that's just, I don't know. So, but the point is, the irony to life is we think we know the end. We don't. So at the end of the day, Kiefer died first, not Ginger. The most aggressive dog of my whole life I've ever owned in modern, here's older, not when I was growing up, we had other dogs in my family, but overall, the most aggressive dog I've ever owned, and the most trained to a degree, and the most active ever that I've owned, in the end, the strongest of the pack in so many ways, he's the one that died. But I'm going to tell you straight up, if you guys keep on bugging the hell out of me about my freaking drinking water, or Mr. Sanchez has already unsubscribed to my channel. He's hell-bent on, he thinks that this water in my pond killed Kiefer. You're so wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. So quit talking about it. You don't know. I've been here for 33 years. So he unsubscribed my channel because he thinks these dogs are going to die. I've had dogs here for 33 years. Not one of them has ever died. None of them. They've all died from cancer or old age. Not one of them has died. I've got 4 healthy dogs running around my property right now. There's no way you can convince me that when Kiefer was down there drinking all that water, and keep in mind, those other dogs haven't had the lepto vaccine since 2019. You're supposed to get it every year. So those other dogs aren't protected. So there's no way you're going to convince me that all those dogs and all my videos of me showing you, me blasting around on my property, and all those dogs sitting down in that creek, not the pond, the creek where it's fresh running water, and they're all drinking water, they should all be dead. Why would they be dead? Because they all drank it at the same time that Kiefer did. No, I know where, I'm going to tell you straight up. I figured out most likely how Kiefer died, but it's way too soon. Then it turns into finger pointing, and I'm not going to do it because I'm pretty confident now I know how Kiefer died. And yes, he drank stagnant water. And when time passes, and it's a better day to talk about this, I'm going to share with you, I'm pretty confident. The irony is, walking these pups around the property, the irony of having these little puppies, it opened my eyes of where Kiefer went and drank contaminated water. So I can't do it right now because it's too personal, and it's just I got to leave it at that. My daughter's still getting over Kiefer, so we just got to give it some time. But quit talking about my damn frickin' creek and water. Tell you straight up, shut the hell up. If you want to unsubscribe, unsubscribe. I don't care. I don't make any money on this damn frickin' YouTube channel. So, if you really think I'm on a mission to kill my dogs, that's insulting to me, so just leave. On the baby conversation, babies. So the reason I'm thinking about babies is because when we had Julia, the amount of time that it took us to raise her, just like you, anybody here that's had kids, the amount of time and money you spend on a baby to bring it in this world and then to nurture it and then to help it grow up, it's huge. It's a huge industry. It's the biggest industry in the world. It's all doing to healthcare and people getting pregnant and having kids. Well, it's the whole infrastructure of the whole industry that we love of cars and vehicles. You have to go buy a baby seat. How many stories of the guy that has the two-door Camaro, two-door Mustang, has the girlfriend, she gets pregnant, and these don't work anymore? How many stories the guy has a Corvette and gets his girlfriend pregnant or wife pregnant, whatever it may be, and the Corvette's got to go bye-bye? So it's a list of the babies, what we do in today's world to sacrifice ourselves to bring a child into this physical being, and then you raise it, and until you do that, you don't get it. So if you're a young adult and you've never been around taking care of a baby, you're clueless on how once you have a child, it's 24/7. You don't get it. Sleep deprivation, and then if you're a working couple, who's taking care of the kid? If you don't have family to help you out, you're going to have to get your old checkbook out and start writing a big fat check every week. So it's huge. So the amount of time and determination that we put into raising a baby, whether you want to call it a puppy, a dog, or a person, whatever you want to call it, it's an incredible commitment. And for me, I've told this story many times. I used to run 3 companies back in the 2000 years, and then after I went broke in 2008 and had to pick up the pieces and start all over again, this time around, I made a decision to bring Julia home because we are very blessed. My wife's mother retired, and once my wife's mother retired, then my wife was up for getting pregnant because she didn't want to just hand off our child to anybody else to take care of it. And so she was just very strict on that. So it wasn't until my wife's mother retired that we had Julia. And then for me, I would take her Monday morning to drop her off. And then my mother-in-law would keep her. This is after she was 6 months old. My wife, the first 6 months, stayed at home and took care of Julia, but then she had to go back to work for her maternity leave. And so so then we set up a schedule where my mother-in-law lives an hour from here back in the day. And I used to drive her down, drop her off in the morning, and I would drive back to get my day going. And then I would go back on Wednesday afternoon to pick Julie back up, to get her back. And then we keep her overnight, and I drive her back down to my mother-in-law's house on Thursday morning. And then I would come back and get her Friday afternoon. And then we'd have her for the weekend. So Julia was never just like separated from us for a great lengths of time. So that was Julia's true first 5 years of her livelihood. And it helped me because I could start my life over again and continue to be on a path of success. And I had a lot of freedom in the daytime, not having to babysit a child. Because if you have to babysit a child, it's an extremely exhausting. It kills me when John Kerry's wife, whatever her name is, the Heinz lady, the Heinz, ketchup family fortune, made a comment that to George Bush's wife, that she just raised kids and that ain't no job. And it's like, lady, you're so screwed up because you're so filthy rich. All the nannies took care of all your changing your diapers and their diapers too. So you're clueless until you have a child. It's an incredibly overbearing amount of stress and workload on you, and satisfaction too. But the running joke I always make with my dad when he and I used to work together for so many years, and he'd come up from Florida and he'd stay in his house up there, and I'd pick him up and we'd do our routine of getting in the car, truck. I'd take him up to Starbucks, get our coffee, go to work, and we'd be at Starbucks or whatever store we went to, and you see all these ladies always lined up in the line. And I used to just tell my dad, it's like, it's incredible how many women would rather go to work instead of stay at home taking care of a kid, because the kid's more work. But I used to just think to myself, it's incredible how many women I would see, and this isn't anything to degrade women, because men should stay home and take care of kids too, and a lot of men do these days. The whole point is you go to work just to pay for the people to take care of your kid. Yeah, if anybody there has had kids and you've had a resort of having your kid dropped off at a daycare facility, and it's not cheap, it'll just run you in the ground. It's not forever, the diapers, everything. So raising a baby, it's such a commitment. And sadly, there's some people that bring kids in the world and they can't take care of their kid. They don't have it. It's so much work. It's so emotional. It's stressful. And even though the rewards come to you as they get older and they become more interactive, the initial years is so challenging. And some just love that and some just can't deal with it. And that's the thing. I was looking at statistics. Elon Musk has been talking so much about how the world population is declining, especially in the U.S. So the baby boomer years from 1955, 1964, the 50s through 1964, the baby boomer years, this country was averaging over 4 million births a year. Now, present day, we're at about 3.5 million. So we're about half a million babies a year or less. But then I thought, what about abortions? Because that's a huge conversation of the political agendas to be that try to convince so many people that once one guy gets in office, there won't be any more abortions, which is beyond believable. People fall for that gig. So believe it or not, we'll just run this number, 3.5 million babies born a year in the U.S. and 600 plus thousand are abortions. So it's kind of a plus negative, if you know what I mean by that. And then if you go worldwide, it's incredible. There's literally, if you go worldwide, there's over 350,000 babies every day who are born, and over 200,000 abortions every day. So so as we're sitting here talking right now, I'm on my channel, every minute or whatever it is, or seconds, another woman in the world has terminated their child, and another woman has had a baby. And it's interesting, the highest country of abortions is Vietnam. America is pretty far down there. So America by no means is one of the higher abortion rates because of our infrastructure and the wealth and the well-being. But you go into these third world countries and these very, poor countries, the healthcare, there's so many variables. And then, sadly, the abuse of the sex and things that go on in these other countries where women sell their bodies. And I'm sure most people got to start to grasp all the numbers. So for the U.S., it isn't really, even Israel's half what we are. And I'm trying to remember if it's Norwegian, Norway, or I can't remember the Argentina or some country that's the lowest abortion rate in the world. But then it talks about how many kids per family, and it's basically, I would have to say that when I was growing up, probably the average family was a size of 4. Now they're saying the average size family is an average of basically 3. Which I can definitely see that. I know a lot of people just have one child like we do. Like my wife, she just wasn't up for a second child. I wish she would have, because I think that would have been really cool for me to have either 2 girls. Odds on my genes, we'd have had another girl or we had a boy. And that's what my wife didn't figure out many years ago is if we would have had a boy, she would have had a teammate, because Julie and I are so alike. Firstborn daughter is so much like the firstborn daughter is usually like daddy, and firstborn boy has so many similarities to the mommy. Just like that little puppy dog that we called Denali. Now we called it Sapphire, then we call it Denali. Now Julie wants to be called Prince. I mean, no doubt, it definitely has that prince type of look. He's so prissy, and I stepped on him last night, and that dog's such a crybaby. I mean, I didn't intentionally. I just kind of stepped over him and caught him a little bit, and he was crying like I thought we were going to go to the hospital. That little dog cries at the littlest little injury. That little boy just cries. Now that girl is like night and day from that boy. That girl is just strong-headed, more independent, has kind of a Kiefer look, but she's more independent. She's not going to be a Kiefer type of dog. And the gypsy girl, we call her, and then the Prince, he's just a crybaby. I mean, you just barely, something happens to him, and he starts crying. I mean, just a little cry. He's a cute little boy. He's definitely going to be a pretty German Shepherd. But I don't see those dogs by any means evolving to what we had with Kiefer. There's just no way. I can't see it. I can't taste it. And I've had so many dogs growing up. I really think these dogs are just going to be more of kind of the domesticated, laid back. I think it'll be more like what my standard poodles are, the Wheaten Terriers are. It's so interesting. Ginger now attacks Willow. She goes after Willow when I open the door up, like what Kiefer used to do to her, but just in a very mild way. By no means anything close to what Kiefer used to do. And so I can't see those dogs being aggressive dogs. I could be totally wrong, but Julia and I talked about this the other night. When we brought Kiefer home, he would literally bite her. I mean, he was always wanting to chew on something. And I mean, she bled. I mean, he used to bite me. It was bad. I used to always worry about him getting my freaking vein in my freaking, near my hand and my arm. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not the dog expert by any means. And I appreciate those out there that try to reach out and give ideas like Metallica does. Because because he knows. He's had a lot of dogs. And he's more on that, the Balmore, whatever you call him, I think. And so here we are, another day, another venture with my conversations on the babies. And I'll never forget when I got my first Harley Davidson, I came home, telling my wife I want to buy a street bike. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "You're not planning on putting that kid in the back of that bike, are you?" And I knew that answer. If I would have said to her, "Oh yeah, I'm going to put Julia," so that would have been 2012, March 2012, when I bought my first Harley Davidson Street Glide used from Frederick Harley, that's no longer in business. So Julia would have been 8 years old. Yeah, she was 7.5. And so, but it wouldn't even matter if my wife said I could. I wouldn't do that. No way. I see other people do that, but I wouldn't expose my child at that age. Now, if I had the trike with this here, would I put her in the back of this? I'd feel more confident. My wife wouldn't let me do it, but I would definitely feel a bit more confident of, putting around the neighborhood. I wouldn't go on a very long adventure, because the stories of your kids get in the back of your motorcycle, the young ones, and they fall asleep on you because you're going down the road. That's serious stuff. Here's a collection of all the cars and what goes on next. I tell you what, it's incredible. I do have something brewing, just so you know. I do, even for me. I've got something going on where I could maybe do another deal on a car, but I don't know. So it's beyond believable. Even for me, I'm blown away. Yeah, I'm not lying. Yeah, I mean, so it's just incredible. I've gotten rid of 5 vehicles. The hash it out with Ford, that probably won't come until first of the year. I would say that's probably when those guys should start looking for their deficiency monies. But yeah, am I crazy? Yeah, I'm crazy. So go out and buy another car. But I really wish though, I could find a deal with a big enough discount where I could just take 2 vehicles. I could take the race truck, and I would probably get rid of the Ram TRX. Just take like the race truck and the Ram TRX and get rid of those 2 vehicles. You know, do I give up the Colorado Bison? I don't drive that thing a lot. It's so tall to get in and out. It's such a cool little truck, but it's such a pain in the ass to get in that truck. I enjoy driving the big truck more. You know, do I take it? So that's what would make sense, but I don't know. It's ongoing, but yeah. Am I going to tell you what I'm doing? Yet, because I don't know the conditions of the deal. The person that got this deal done for me, they left, so I don't know what the numbers are. And it's not an expensive vehicle to buy, but it would be a perfect vehicle for more about me getting something that add to the fleet for making more sense as I get rid of more vehicles, which that is the goal. And I only wish that, I mean, in some ways, I don't really want to sell my Harley Davidson CVO, but that would be pretty cool. I had a guy, local Green Rush. I don't know who this guy is. There's a guy named Green Rush on my channel, and apparently he lives right around my neighborhood here. I have no idea who he is. He won't tell me who he is. But he said the other day on my channel that he wants to buy one of my motorcycles. But I already know the deal. I already know. I'm glad people reached out yesterday after me commenting about how everybody wants everything for free. That's the way it works. You know, people want me to sell this thing for $27,000. Okay, great. Wow. Why? I mean, why? In all sincereness, I would just let it go to a repo. You know, I would do that just to say, snub it in your face. You go to the dealership and pay good money for it. Because it's just an insult to me. So, nah, just come pick it up, Harley. No, this isn't even under Harley Davidson Financial. This is under Performance Finance Group. Come get it. Come get it. Take it away. And then good luck. Good luck getting your $27,000 motorcycle, dude. You know, and that's the thing with my car. It's like, oh, well, I mean, you know, it goes away. Good luck. Go find it. That 450 truck. I'll be interested to see. It's November 19th that the 450 truck and the Ram truck go to auction at Manheim in Pennsylvania. So if anybody wants to go up there, if you're an auctioneer, go up there and pick the truck up. Let me know if you got a steal on it. I mean, that truck, the truck's worth a lot of money in my eyes, but I guess not. But it wasn't. A lot of people looked at it, but they want to bring money to the table. What's that all about? And but everybody's making so much money. I mean, in hindsight, man, I was just stupid not to put 10 or 20 grand in the stock market. I mean, it's incredible, everybody. How long can it last? I mean, sincerely, how much longer can this incredible run on the stock market last? It's through the roof. If you invested wisely during the pandemic and back in 2022 when the market got below 20, you're going to be rich as all get out. You're going to be, for all the time I put in my channel, while you've been playing stocks, you've made your possibly millions. Well, I'm the dumbass every day to make a conversation on channel thinking I make my millions one day off of social media. Yeah, right. Yeah, good luck on that one, man. Yeah, you've gone broke on social media. That's what you've done. Sure have. No doubt about that. Yeah, the social media has it kind of been the energy behind the craziness? It has. There's no doubt about that. When do you break it off? I just about did. I just about did say bye-bye to everybody. I was close. So the baby conversations, which that's what I was going to kind of wrap it up with. I think we live in the biggest society of a bunch of crybabies like never ever seen. I'm sorry, man. If you think I'm hitting you, I may be hitting you. You're just a big freaking crybaby. You really are. We live in a society most biggest prima donna babies I've ever seen in my life. I'm not lying. Everybody's just a bunch of little crybabies. Prove me wrong. We live in a woke society We live in social media where people are just sucking their thumbs all day long. It is so bad. I can about guarantee if we ever go to war, I guarantee you, all the rich parents and all these people that came from other parts of the world or countries, even though they have U.S. citizenship, I guarantee you they're going to be on a plane, hightailing it out of here as fast as possible. I guarantee it. I guarantee you, families that came from other parts of the world that had babies here and their kid now is up for draft, they're going to ship them out of the country as fast as possible and take them back to their homeland. I guarantee it. And all these illegals here, I've said it many times, for all you young people that would want to don't give a crap about these illegals, they won't get drafted. They're going to be loving your life that you have to give up as a citizen of this country and go fight a war. And I never did finish up the China conversation of yesterday, the veterans conversation, on how what people don't get is China is putting themselves in position. They're going to come here to visit us. This is not going to be a war. The next war will be here on our own turf. And the reason I so strongly believe that is China has built the infrastructure like never ever seen, their military and navy, to bring people here like never ever seen. We don't have it anymore. I talked about that yesterday, that we don't have these merchant marines, marine infrastructure, all these vessels to get all of our cargo and all of our men and all of our military stuff overseas and fast enough. China's going to beat us to the punch. So we're going to have our military here on domestic, on our turf, to fight these guys, because they're going to be here sitting outside of our oceans and doing what we've done to others for so many years. We think they're making this shit up. You're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. We in the next war will be here on our own turf. So for all those young people that think this, all the crybabies, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of little young people start crying and just figure out how they're going to get out of this situation, because they're not going to fight for our country. And don't get me wrong, there's some incredibly talented young people out there that have committed to the service, committed to the military, and I know that. So this is not saying every kid is going to do this. That's not true. I'm saying there's a lot of crybabies out there that we have in our society more than ever before that the social media supports, just to get them to, where's the pacifiers? What's the sales of pacifiers? Maybe we got to get in that business, right? Maybe we got to get in the business of selling pacifiers. Probably need a lot of them here as time progresses on. So that's my beliefs. I don't know why China and Russia are buddies. I don't know why China's building the biggest Navy military it's ever had. Go back to modern times. Go back to prehistoric times. You can go back to just the Vikings. What was the success? Who won the wars? The people that had the ships. Hello? I mean, so that's where we are. So that's it, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up with that. And do you see another car adventure day? It's possible. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm crazy. I know that. But anyways, hope nobody takes it too personal here this morning. But yeah, do we live in a baby society? I love to see all the people that Trump's now in office, and they're all a little bunch of babies crying. But none of them will leave the country. Come on. But you'd be leaving the country if war came, promise you that. So, all right, everybody, God bless. Have a great day. And stay tuned for more adventures on Ice HTV.